Hi, hey, hello everybody. Looks like you can hear us. Let me know if you can't. How's it going? We are live from the apocalypse, and you are welcome. Welcome to the stream. We're playing a game tonight. We're playing the second part of Undestined, the second and last part of our Digimon based playtest of a game that I am making called Nightlights. Thank you so much for joining us. Obviously, this one is very near and dear to my heart, a very big one. So really appreciate you being here. If you missed the last session of Undestined Part 1, then you missed a good time, first of all. Our players are in New York City around the time of the holidays. It is winter, and they are all Digidestined, but not the main Digidestined. They're like, third string Digidestined. They found themselves drawn towards Central Park. They went to Central Park where they met each other for the first time, and their Digimon engaged in a battle with a few other unpartnered wild Digimon, which they won handily. Upon splitting up and going home, they were awoken in the middle of the night by the sound and the commotion created by many more Digimon moving through the streets of New York City. At least 100 or so, all seeming to be heading towards Central Park. And it's pretty much that exact moment that we rejoin our story. But before we do that, we're going to do some introductions. We'll go around. I will dive on the sword and take the first one, so that we're not springing it on poor Andy again.
You're fine if you want to.
If you want to. Well, no. Of causes and good organizations and charities and things like that. We are currently fundraising for the International Rescue Committee, which is a fantastic humanitarian aid organization that has been active for like 80 years. They're in over 40 crisis-afflicted countries. They do really important and really good work, and we are well over halfway to our goal of $2,000 for them. So if you like what you see here tonight, we ask that you no, I did it this time, didn't I? Oh, stream intro. Last time I messed up the stream info. All right. Completely lost my train of thought. They do really important work. If you like what you see here, instead of subscribing or giving us bits or any of the normal Twitch stuff, we ask that you take the $5 or $6 or really whatever you would have, given to us, and instead donate it directly to the International Rescue Committee. And you can do that by hitting !donate in the chat, which will call up the link, and then that link can be used to donate. And if you do that, the McElroy brothers will interrupt whatever's going on the screen. They will scream at us. It will be very distracting, and it'll derail everything. It'll probably be very funny for you. Obviously, being on twitch.tv, we cannot stop you from subscribing, but especially if you have an Amazon Prime sub, you're welcome to do that. Any Twitch payouts we get go to keeping the lights on here. We don't keep any of the profits beyond that point. We donate all of that as well. And if you do that, though, be aware that Brendan Lee Mulligan, beloved Dungeon Master of Dimension 20, noted comedian, will kill one dog for every month that you have been subscribed. So choose wisely. Decide if you can sleep with yourself at night. Sleep with yourself at night. That's not a thing people say. Great. Anyway, don't subscribe to us. Donate. That's the point. And that's what we do here. This is Live from the Apocalypse. My name is Will. I'm one of the GMs and the organizers. I do a bunch of stuff here. I run a bunch of games. I run Class Reunion Winter Break.
Yeah, Justin, fucking
game.
Rip it, baby. Slop that down, dude. Shit, yeah, dude. Crack one for the big boy.
Case in point. Thanks, Will's mom. Thanks, my mom, for donating. We appreciate it. So does the International Rescue Committee. I run Class Reunion Winter Break, which is a game that is normally about 5 high school students from Ohio who've been trapped in a fantasy world for 10 years, but is currently about their hometown of Ohio and all the weird shit that's happening there while they're gone. We will be back to our regular Class Reunion story very soon. So check that out on Tuesdays, on alternating Tuesdays with that. You can catch Missing Numbers. I play a former Team Rocket member turned chef named Julian. That's a very good time in that game as well. I also run our Masks podcast, Academy H, which we stream on here as live recording sessions, and then we edit it. And that's I think the stuff that I'm doing right now, aside from running this game. So that any of that sounds cool, check out the schedule, livefromtheapocalypse.com, or you can just scroll down and there's a bunch of information down there as well, or join the Discord server. Anyway, that's all I got to say. So I'm gonna fade away, and now Andy, it's your turn.
Oh, shit. Hi, I'm Andy. I'm a Hero of Hearts on Twitter, Instagram, not Hive, not going there. Discord? I think it's technically different on Discord. I'm in a couple of places. I'm the Dungeon Master of the Charisma Saving Show, a naval high fantasy D&D 5e show, live actual play. You can find us on Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch, as well as Spotify and a couple of other podcast-related networks. I'm here to create chaos. What can I say? I guess you could also find me on the No Fame podcast and one of their one-shots, the Stories from the Shore, which we were hoping to have finished, but there are a little bit of technical difficulties. So hopefully when you see this, you might see that out at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I believe that's everything.
Totally. You would think, right?
I sure hope that's everything.
There will be a quiz, so fingers crossed. Jamie.
Hello, I'm Jamie Carbone. I play Ella Bistol. I am a comedian based out of the Pacific Northwest. I also play Danny Carseat on Academy H. I forgot the name and almost said Missing Numbers.
You're not in that game.
Oh boy, my brain is fried because I just spent a week in Disney World. Anyway, yeah, I'm a comedian based out of the Pacific Northwest. You can find me on all my socials at a Jamie Carbone. I'm very funny. I'm hanging out with one of my biggest fans right now. I'm so sorry I said that out loud. I said I wasn't going to, and then my brain turned off and I said it anyway. My stand-up is better than that, arguably. But if you live in the Pacific Northwest, I'm all over the place. If you live in Eureka, California, I'm about to feature at the Savage Henry Comedy Club this weekend. It would be great to see you if you're in the area. But besides that, I am very mentally ill, and it's part of my charm.
It's really just a whole mood for this channel in general. Liz, do you want to talk about your charming mental illness?
I mean, if you want that, I'm going to link or mention my Twitter in a second. You'll get plenty of that there. Don't worry. But in this game, I play Victoria. Victoria is very goth, very not interested in the seeming inevitable drag towards having to save the world. So her Digimon Electmon is very interested in that and is ready to be the hero that he's always believed he could be. And Victoria tells him to chill out about. Outside of this, I also play in Missing Numbers, our Pokemon game that happens the Tuesday right before this one, where I play someone on the opposite end who is very optimistic, Billy Baker, normally. Though right now we're doing a flashback war story, and that should be wrapping up in the next session as well. Outside of that, as you can see above, my Twitter is at Iron Echo Games. So yeah, you can go there if you want to hear thoughts. I design games, so I talk about game design, and I also talk about all sorts of gender and mental health stuff because that's the theme of this year, seemingly. And that's me.
Yeah. Also, if you happen to be watching this and you're going to PAX Unplugged in Philadelphia this weekend, Liz and I will both be there running some games. If you want to look for those with Games on Demand. That sounds good. That's the stuff. And now we can start playing Okay, cool. So yeah, basically when we had left, all right, who didn't silence their phone?
That's
Who
not
was
me.
Liz or Jamie? Not sure.
It
You both
wasn't
look
me.
guilty.
I muted myself because I was slurping noodles.
That makes sense. Okay, cool. No worries. All right, cool. So you were going to head towards Central Park. And in fact, that is what's happening. All of you, I think, separately are moving through the city alongside this sort of herd of Digimon. Some of them are flying, some of them are stomping through the streets. You see Mons of all shapes and sizes. Your standard, dinosaurs and big cats and things like that. And then above you, various types of like dragons and prehistoric looking birds and all of basically everything that everything that comes along with Digimon. And they all seem to have that same sort of expression that you've seen on your Digimon partners. That sort of heavily dilated pupils and like singular focus, with like a little bit of maybe territorial aggression thrown in. And they're not paying attention to you at all. So I think there are a couple times probably where you, either because you were paying attention, have to like duck out of the way, or maybe because your partners pull you out of the way. And so you don't get stomped or anything like that. But I think as you are following the herd, still a few blocks away from Central Park, the entrance to Central Park, you all kind of converge. You all kind of see each other from across a four-way intersection that is obviously dead at this point. There are you've seen a few other humans as well. People who have gotten out of their cars and like run away screaming. But you would also notice that the city is dark. This is not a city that is ever dark, but now lights. There don't seem to be any lights. It's very quiet, aside from like hearing people yelling and trying to figure out exactly what's going on. It's mostly quiet, especially the closer you get to the park, and it's very dark. But there's enough ambient light for you to see each other across this four-way intersection as you kind of all converge from different directions in it.
Ella gives like an affirming nod to each of you,
I'd
and then
start,
tightens her head.
start jumping up, waving my hands. Hey, did you check your Neopets account? I sent you a message. Did you get it?
A
No.
warrior has no time for Neopets.
No, that's in the terms of service, actually. No
You
warriors.
have to sign over your Neopets account if you want to be able to fight.
Yep.
The hardest day of Ella's life.
Yep.
Sacrifices we make.
If you are like meeting up with each other as you get closer, you're still sort of having to do that thing where you're dodging between legs and avoiding getting stomped on. What is the one that's like it's like a snowman? Got long legs. Yeah, Frigimon. Like one of those, like, storms right by you, doesn't pay you a second thought, but like almost bowls you over as it rushes by. Then you are together in the middle of this dark street with seemingly no power.
Are there any other Digidestined kids, or are we the only ones?
We're the only ones that you can see.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
As
are
of
these
right now.
fishermen headed back towards the same area we were at earlier, or a different place?
It's hard to
I
say
guess that-
because you were pretty deep into the park and they're just sort of heading to the park. But if you had to
but it's still
guess,
Central Park.
yeah, that seems pretty likely. Actually, do you want to roll your dice track?
Okay. So we're at a D8. Oh, I have to call it. That's how
You
this
do.
game works.
You
I'm
You have to.
gonna go with-
Unfortunately, you can't call it retroactively.
Yeah, 5. Ooh. That's an 8. Hold on.
Well,
Nah, I think I can justify 2, but I don't think I can justify the third.
that is fair. Okay. Then yeah, I mean, you're not sure. You really have no idea. Maybe you don't care. Maybe that's why. But
Yeah. Yeah, I think she's just more irritated. Like, okay, I thought we dealt with this thing. We beat the things. We were done. This is clearly becoming a bigger thing.
Maybe we didn't actually beat the thing, and that those birds were talking about. They had like a leader or something that was gonna come back.
Yes. A bigger bird.
Bigger bird. Oh, wonder what kind of cracker Polly wants. Sorry.
No, I loved it. Don't apologize even a little bit.
Let's just go pluck this thing and get it over with.
God, we're bringing so much Digimon energy tonight. All right, perfect. Okay,
Specifically for kids dub.
Yeah,
Digimon
absolutely.
energy.
Yep.
The best
Yeah.
dub, like the best version.
Yeah.
Yes.
4 Kids ruined a lot of things. I will
Not
say,
Digimon.
in my opinion, not Digimon.
They
Yeah.
somehow like metamorphosized it into something else that was
Yeah.
like equally as good, if not better. So
Yep.
So
Sorry,
can we
just
still see some of the Digimon?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are a lot of them, so you can absolutely keep pace with them.
Okay.
Also, sorry, Justin, we couldn't get the rights. You wouldn't think there'd be a lot of demand for the Digirap, but
we can start our own Digirap.
look, Andy, if you're volunteering, if you have a hidden skill
wrap
set,
all of the Digimon in one song.
There are 1,400 of those things.
Good luck.
this is the rest of the stream now.
Agumon.
I mean-
Agumon in a professor's coat. A blue Agumon in a professor's coat. An Agumon with wristbands.
Just based on the
17
people
different
involved,
Greymons.
I think you're more likely to get a ska soundtrack than the Digirap.
All right,
Yeah,
I'm
I think
back
so.
in. Absolutely.
We know
think
a lot
so.
of ska bands. Shockingly, I guess.
Canadian classic.
All right. So yeah, absolutely. There are still Digimon around you. There's still plenty of them around you, and they're still moving into the park. So if you're just gonna sort of follow along to see where they go, you absolutely can. And I think as you do so, you would notice that the sort of the ambient light that has been letting you really see anything beyond just what like starlight and moonlight showing you is taking on like a red cast, like a reddish cast, and you can tell that it is radiating out from a central point deep within the park, because it sort of comes over you like a wave. Sort of radiates out from a central point, and you feel it kind of wash over you, and then suddenly all around you there's this like reddish tint.
Does it affect our partners at all?
I will say yes. I will say that you see them go feral for a moment, but again, it's not hard for you to pull them out of it. Basically, you just kind of have to like tap them on the shoulder or say something to them, and then they seem to be back in their right minds.
A point towards the direction that the red light's coming from. Like, okay, well, that's kind of a red flag, right? So we should probably maybe head there to deal with it.
Red
I don't
flag.
know. My sister talks about red flags and things all the time, and usually she says to avoid them, but I don't know. I think we should go towards it.
It's true. Your sister doesn't know
Agreed.
everything.
Seems ominous enough. So
Red is the color of blood. And I will shower my enemies. Or, we'll fight. Let's go.
I mean, the
think
first part's true. The second's concerning.
I
But-
pull out the weird sword on my back. That's my Digimon. And be like, "Do you bleed?" And I think it just goes, "I don't, but hey, whatever." I don't know why he's becoming this. A different voice.
it sounds like a sword voice to me.
Sounds like a Jordan voice to me.
Mm, it's true. It does. One and the same. Maybe Jorthaniel's a sword. Secretly.
No, don't give Justin ideas.
Perfect. You're on the same page. Stream delay and all. Justin, write that down. Jorthaniel is a sword.
Anyways, I think we all head towards the glowing red ominous signal.
Yeah.
Versus.
And I think as you do so, Kokuamon probably going to be a little resistant. Probably, I think Kokuamon's going to say, "Look, I'm not sure this is such a good idea." As we established, Kokuamon is voiced by Danny DeVito.
Yeah. Ella is going to bend over so she's at his height, put her hand on his shoulders, and say, "Buddy, I don't care," and then pick him up and carry him against his will.
In the complete opposite level of energy, I'm pretty sure Electron has climbed up onto a nearby trance-like Digimon and is riding on their head so he can get a better view, and keeps like gesturing for us to hurry towards Destiny.
Yeah, we established that Elecmon put on a cape, I believe. So definitely doing like the Batman, like Dark Knight, like cape across the face thing, riding on the back of a Tyrannomon. All right, cool. Yeah. Moving through Central Park, alongside this Digimon herd, you realize that it is going to be very perilous. And I think seeing you kind of like ducking and dodging out of the way, because some of these Digimon are just barreling through. Lekmon on the back of the Tyrannomon is going to call down to you, all of you collectively, basically say, it's not safe down there. You should come up here.
I mean, easy for you to say. I don't think I can just climb up on a dinosaur.
Don't say that, Victoria. You can do anything as long as I believe in you.
Yeah, believe in the you that believes in me. Got it. Yeah, still not climbing a dinosaur.
Ella is already halfway up the dinosaur.
Okay. I will need you to roll for that.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's just my dice track, right?
Yes. Yeah. Your dice track.
I'm gonna say 6. 7.
So that's a success. That is good enough. You can do it. You can scale the dinosaur.
She is whole hog. She's using her mouth to help her climb.
Okay. Kokomon can fly, so that's not a concern. Andy, AJ's partner Spotamon is a sword currently. So
by the way, thing I forgot, I'm playing AJ, and my Digimon partner is Spotamon, a little lion who turns into a fucking sword. I think like watching Ella like go up and be like, "Do you want to climb up or do you want to just get on my back?" I think it just like moves in my mind. It's like, I think I'm just gonna stay like this. I'm like, okay. Good thing I had spaghetti for dinner. Carbo loaded. I think watching Ella, I'm gonna try to use my intuitive and my brave label to add to my shot. So I'm gonna call a 6.
So okay, that's interesting. I think you have to roll. You have to roll with your single human dice track.
Yep.
Because your partner, your Nightlight, is a sword currently, so is not able to do the brunt of the work for you.
That's fine. I'm doing the brunt of the work for him.
So I think you're at a D8, yeah, and so you can just call your shot.
Right. I called a 6. I rolled a 1.
Ooh.
So technically, yeah, that is a critical failure, which means your dice track is going to drop a type, or I guess raise a type to the next highest.
Hello, D10.
Yeah. Um, and I think you try to do kind of the same thing that Ella did. You basically like leap up onto the dinosaur, but you don't find any. Your hands don't like find any purchase, anywhere to grip, and you just kind of like hang there for a second, and then slide down its leg onto the ground where you were able to roll out of the way so it doesn't step on you. But yeah, you're like prone on the ground, and Spider-Man is like, that didn't work.
No, not really.
Victoria.
I don't think I'm as strong as her. I think the spaghetti's giving me a tummy ache.
Victoria just like grabs you by like your collar and kind
Oh!
of helps pull you up out of the way, like
Thank you.
standing, and it's like, and this is why we don't try and climb a dinosaur. Then I'm gonna look around. Is there like maybe like a unicorn mon or something that's like a more normal size rideable Digimon that's also stampeding near us?
I'll say that there's a Unimon, sure.
Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna spot one of those and try to move over to like hop up on that because climbing a horse is much easier than climbing up a dinosaur.
That is true. Has Victoria done some horseback riding?
I think she would never admit it, but a long time ago, maybe around the time frame of the flashback we saw at the start of this, yes.
The horse girl to goth girl pipeline, though.
It's real.
It's very real,
It's very real.
and I love it.
Go for it. Roll. Call your shot. Roll for it.
Yep, I'm gonna go with a 4 this time. Let's see. Oh, you've got to be kidding me! That's an 8 again. That would have to be all 4. Hold on. I actually am going to argue I might be able to justify this one
Okay.
because everything about this is Victoria's energy. So I've got trust issues. I'm not climbing the stupid dinosaur. I'm going to do this my own way. We've got what it's obvious, as in I'm going to take the easy route and not your ridiculous solution. Was that supposed to be scary? As she just drags AJ up and marches over casually to the Unimon, and I told you so. Which, if this works, is very much confirming her stubbornness.
Yeah. All right. I will give it to you. I take that, and it does feel very much like Victoria's energy. So yeah, you can kind of just drag AJ over there, and sort of very casually, you kind of catch the Unimon around the neck as it's rushing by you, and sort of swing with momentum. You sort of swing both of you up and onto its back. And it continues galloping along, and I think Elekmon probably calls back over his shoulder and says, "Great work, Victoria." Cool. Okay. So you're galloping along on the back of a Unimon, or sort of lumbering along on the back of this Tyrannomon, and you pass through most of the park. They are not skirting anything, so they're basically, all the Digimon are sort of barreling through the trees and leveling paths through the park, leading to this central point that the red light is emanating from. And traveling fairly far back in this, we'll say, stampede of Digimon, you would notice the semi-translucent red dome that everybody is heading towards before you get anywhere close to it. The Digimon that are farther ahead than the ones that you're riding, you see them hitting the red dome. You see them making contact with it, and they pass through it, but on the other side, you don't see their physical forms. They seem to turn into sort of like particles, maybe, or might be more accurate to say pixels.
Ella sees this and immediately starts punching the Tyrannomon's head to try and wake him up and get him to stop.
Okay. I think you'd have to do it a couple times, and then the Tyrannomon would sort of blink a couple times and say, and then in a very deep and slow voice say, "Well, what?"
Buddy, you are heading towards a big death circle. Please stop.
Where am
Please.
I? Who are you?
I'm Ella. I'm God. Of fighting, and the bubble is killing, and please stop. I don't know if I stop. Please, you're in a park.
The Tyrannomon does stop because it also can see ahead of it what's happening as these other Digimon are hitting it, and it kind of creates this like backup in the traffic of all these Digimon that are rushing forward. The ones, because the Tyrannomon is so big, the Digimon that are behind it are kind of going to crash into it. And the Unimon, I think, is maybe not right behind it, but there's like, we'll say that Frigimon is right there and it crashes into the back of the Tyrannomon, and then like a Kabuterimon crashes into the back of that, and et cetera, et cetera. And it just creates this big like backup, but it doesn't seem to be. It is enough, I think, that it jerks them out of like whatever trance they're in. Like you'd similarly be able to hear the Unimon like neigh and toss its head as you're riding on its back, and it says, "Forsooth, where are we?"
We are in Central Park,
New
headed
York
towards a big red.
City.
Yeah, that one. Headed towards a big red death orb. Well, now we're not because you stopped, but we were.
Tell him I'm God.
And God's here.
Our Fred's a frog.
Vanilla just gives a big thumbs up because she can't hear that.
I see. Verily, I recall none of how I came to be here.
Do you have like a partner? You're just like a Digimon that's just out here in New York?
I, a lone Digimon on a quest.
What's your quest?
Very rude child to ask someone their quest.
How is it rude to ask you your quest? Hello?
Yeah, my Digimon won't shut up about his quest.
A quest is a very personal thing to be shared only at one's discretion.
Could you tell my Elecmon that?
No.
Spider-Man, how do I... Are you on a quest? Can you get this guy to talk to us about his quest?
Well, we're all on a quest if you think about it. So at this point, that the Tyrannomon stopped, and all these other Digimon kind of ran into it, and you'd have that little conversation with the Unimon who's kind of peeled off from the line, but the Tyrannomon jerked out of its feral trance that was drawing it inexorably towards the red barrier, now rounds on the Frigimon that ran into the back end of it, and like, "Watch where you're going." The Frigimon is like, "You watch where I'm going." And you can see like all of these Digimon in one place without the whatever force was dragging them here. It's quickly turning chaotic. Digimon are not known for like playing nicely with each other.
So they're snapping out of it, but they're fighting each other.
It's heading in that direction. Yeah, you can like the Frigimon, we'll say, puts up his dukes, and the Tyrannomon lowers his head like he's gonna charge.
Ella is going to slide down the Tyrannomon's tail like Fred Flintstone. And as she lands amongst them, she's going to hold her hands up and say, "This is not how we fight. We fight in tournaments. One-on-one." So I will make a bracket. And then the winner will be the king. I, of course, as the genius, will be seated all the way to the end because it's my fight. But for now, we are going to calmly and politely stop being mean. Tell him, Kokuama.
What? Yeah. Stop it, I guess.
Listen to the guy.
You know, you can't beat any of them, right?
I will win their hearts. And then I will put my fist in their face.
Oh, Ella's watched Naruto.
Often.
All right. Okay, interesting. That's an interesting appeal to them. I think that they're probably very disoriented, maybe not all that keen to fight each other, but they're putting up a big show. So why don't you roll for me? Why don't you roll Ella's dice track?
All right, I'll roll. Let's say we'll do a 4 is the target. We got a 5.
All right, that is a success. So perfect. You have drawn their attention entirely, and there's a lull and a silence that falls over the entire assembled crowd of all these Digimon that are standing around and looking like they're ready to fight each other. And then the Tyrannomon says to the assembled masses, "We should listen to her. She is God of fighting."
Don't you forget it.
At that moment, I'm going to say, Victoria, I'm going to say that you notice this because I think everybody else is very much pulled into this and you're probably rolling your eyes at it.
Mm-hmm.
But you notice that red barrier, that dome, starts expanding, starts moving closer to you.
Guys, Death Orb is getting bigger. We should probably do something about that instead of punching dinosaurs or snowmen.
Tyrannomon says, should we fight it? To Ella.
There is always a time for combat, but right now we should regroup our forces and find a way to defeat the orb in a way where touching it does not kill us all immediately. Sun Tzu said that.
Okay, cool. So a couple of things are going to happen at the same time. Ellie, you say that the Digimon all nod, like you just said, the wisest thing they've ever heard. And then you hear this like deep, disembodied voice that has a strange resonance to it, sort of echoing around, and it laughs. A very dark laugh, and it says, "Run if you think yourselves fast enough." And the expansion of the Death Orb, as you have named it, starts to speed up rapidly to the point where you pretty much have to turn tail and run in order to avoid being consumed in it.
Is it consuming things that aren't Digimon, like trees and stuff? Are they getting the same data effect?
It doesn't appear to be, no.
Okay.
Just Digimon then.
Just Digimon.
All right, Ella's going to point the opposite direction and go, that way, run, go, move. And
All
then
right.
Take off herself.
Very cool. Very cool.
She said.
Okay. You turn and you start running. A few of the other Digimon that are standing nearby you, like the Tyrannomon, probably the Frigimon, the Unimon for sure, all turn and start running as well. They start running alongside you, and they're big enough, at least the Tyrannomon is big enough that the ground is definitely starting to shake as they go. However, the other Digimon that are behind you who didn't have as strong of a sense of what is going on. There's some hesitation, or they're slower than you, or it takes them a little while to figure out exactly what's happening. And a lot of them, as you are racing away from this wall of red light that is almost gaining ground on you, you see them getting caught up in it and disintegrated, turned into data. And you and the Digimon that you've managed to sway over to your side, you reach the edge of the park where you entered it. And the light stops expanding and starts to... It actually doesn't... it stops expanding. And you see it start to turn opaque. You see it starting to become less of a light barrier and more solid. And that reddish hue is still there, but it's almost more of a sickly pink color. About 5 feet away from where you've stopped, you can see a spot. Like a deep red spot on the barrier. And you'd hear that voice one more time, that echoing, resonant, disembodied voice say, "I am sated for now." It doesn't say anything after that. So you and these 3 Digimon have managed to escape, but the park itself, pretty much the entirety of Central Park, appears to be covered by whatever this now solid barrier is. I think Kokuamon at this point would probably be like, "I'm gonna fly up and see if I can get a better look at it."
I was
So,
just gonna nod at that.
yeah, flies up a pretty good distance, sort of turns in the air and surveys the land, and then flies back down to you and says, "You're not gonna believe this. It's an egg."
That's a lot of protein.
Oh no.
Not that kind of egg. It's a digi egg, but it's the size of the whole park.
You think we could crack it open?
Spotamon's like, "We could try."
Do we want to try though?
Yes.
Probably better than letting it hatch on its own.
All right. Wielding Spotamon, I rush up to the closest edge of the egg and try to smack it.
Okay. Yeah, you smack Spotamon in sword form against the side of the egg, and it rebounds with a clang that vibrates up the blade of the sword. And it vibrates hard enough, I think, that it kind of shakes Spotamon loose from the sword form and just hits the ground back in his little lion form.
He'll just scruff the back of his head like, oh, "Okay, little buddy, maybe we need a bigger sword or something that can crack this open."
He's got the disoriented swirl eyes.
I just pick him up, hold him like a teddy bear. Any of you got an egg cracker or something?
These are the only egg crackers I need, and then Ella's gonna punch the egg.
It's not quite as visceral of a reaction as the sword, but you also can't put quite as much force behind it. So you just punch it, and it feels like punching a brick wall.
Bricks, my old enemy.
You said there
It's
was
not the
like
first time I've punched a brick, and it won't be the last.
you said there was a red spot nearby still.
Yeah, yeah.
Seeing both this happen, I think Victoria's just gonna kind of breathe, look around for something like a stick or a rock or something, pick it up and just chunk it at the red space to see what happens.
Pretty much exactly the same thing happens. It just bounces off, like you chucked it at a wall. You've probably seen a digi-egg before. That's probably how you found your partners. So you would know that, they're very normally, they're egg-shaped, obviously, but they always have like a colored spot pattern on them.
Okay.
And if you had to guess, that's what this is.
Little buddy, do you know how to, do we have to wait for this egg to hatch?
I don't know. I mean, I think if we wait for it to hatch, I'm worried about what's going to come out of it. I've never seen one this big before.
It's pretty big, but I think we could take it.
Oh, yeah, we could definitely take it. Whatever it
Hey.
is.
Giant dinosaur, snowman, and unicorn. I think y'all can do more than like a tiny lion and a child. Like, why don't y'all give this a shot?
We have names. Jeez.
What are your names? Hello, I'm AJ. This is Spider-Man. This is. I just leave it for my new friends to say their names, but I think I wait like a little too long. That's kind of awkward.
Victoria. I'm sorry. What is your names?
Well, I'm Tyrannomon. And then the unicorn says, I am Unimon, and sort of dips into like a deep bow. And the Frigimon, like, okay, I'm Frigimon. Forget about it.
Oh, he's walking here.
Accurate to the fourth his stub.
Yeah. 3 voices.
Nice to meet all of you. Now, can you please try and destroy the egg?
I guess we could see what we could do. And the Frigimon's gonna like do a sort of a boxer hop as he gets close to the edge of the egg, and it's gonna start trying to rain some ice fueled blows down on the side of it. And I think the Tyrannomon's gonna move into place and do the same thing, trying to breathe some fire onto the egg itself to crack it open. Unimon will charge it at least once, kind of like dinging and slashing at it with his horn as if it was a sword. But after like a few minutes of this, they don't seem to be making much progress, if any, either, unfortunately.
Maybe if we try all at once.
You could try, yeah, you could try all at once if you want, all of your partners at once. You give that a shot.
Strap on my goggles. I'm like, all right, Spider-Man, I'll leave this one to you. Well, that was a little knife. Lights it on fire.
Kokuamon, don't be lazy with this one.
Fine.
Blackmon, here's your moment. Destiny's calling.
Destiny calls, and I must answer.
Let's start knocking on this egg then.
Cool. All right. So I think you're gonna. I want you to roll for this, all of you, and I'm thinking in this specific case, you're trying to change something. So roll with your partner's change dice track.
All right. I'm gonna call 6.
3.
I'll call a 7. I got an 8.
That's a success. What did you get, Victoria?
I got a 5.
Okay.
And I called 3, but I was having him use his electric attack. I was gonna have him use Sparkling Thunder, which shoots electric bolts. And if ever there was a time for Hero Complex to be relevant, I think this is it. So I'm gonna
Agreed.
go Shocking and Hero Complex to make that one work.
Perfect. Ella, what'd you get?
A 1.
That's the lowest you can roll on a die.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well,
He
that
didn't
was
try.
it's true. He was lazy. Yeah, I think he Kokuaman forgets the name of his attack and is like, it's a thunder jolt, and like a little weak spark of like electricity shoots out from between his claws and hits the side of the egg.
On seeing this, Ella picks him up and throws him at it, where they're shooting their attacks.
Perfect. What I'm going to say is that you throw Kokuamon, you haul back your arm and you throw Kokuamon. And Kokuamon like corrects his angle at the last second so he doesn't hit the side of it. He kind of like flies up over the top of the egg, partially from the force of you throwing him and partially from his own ability to fly. And he says, whoa, I think I found something.
What?
I think I found a way in, but you're going to have to climb up.
How tall is the egg? It's like it's pretty tall, right?
It's pretty tall, but it's oblong and it's sort of on its side. So like
Okay.
It's not a vertically standing egg. That would be very, very difficult to climb. This is more like you gotta just get up on the side of it.
Tyrannomon, would you kindly be a ladder for me and my friends?
I have been told before that I'm an excellent ladder. It would be my pleasure.
She will politely rub his foot and then walk up his back.
Anything for the god of fighting. Yeah, he makes himself into a little like elevator, or not elevator, like staircase.
I think Victoria's again gonna turn to Unimon. Like, those wings work, right?
Yes, verily.
Cool. Can we get a lift?
Of course. And Unimon will sort of bow down again so you can climb on. And then take off. Say, it'd be my great honor to bear you, Lady Victoria.
I'll turn to Frigimon and be like, can you just huck us up there?
Can I? And without a second thought, he's just going to scoop you up and like ball the two of you together into like a snowball and just hurl you.
This is the coolest thing, thank you!
Every one of those so on brand for those characters.
And by all three of your means, you reconvene, and Kokuamon is a little distance away from you, clearly moved since he landed where you threw him. Deeper into the park, so farther along the top of the egg. And he is looking down. As you arrive, you can see a section, like a panel of the egg on the top, the very top, that's kind of like flickering, almost like glitching. He says, see, I told you. I did something right.
Okay. And then Ella will pull out a notebook and she'll be like, Kokuamon does something right, and then adds a tally to bring the total up to 4.
But what about the time that, no, yeah, you're right.
Mm-mm. He'll do like the Dikembe Mutombo, like no.
Anyway, I mean, somebody's gonna have to try, not me, but
Well, first time for everything.
is AJ just like cannonballing or trying to cannonball through the?
Yeah, I think
flickering?
me and Spotamon tag team it.
Like, this is the whole point of having a goggles kid. Somebody has to go first.
It's true. It's 100% true. You hit it, like you leap up into the air as high as you can, and you try to like cannonball through that opening. But when you land, it's like landing on concrete. It's like landing on the sidewalk. It hurts, and it feels solid.
This is pretty. Are you sure, Goku Amanu, you're supposed to be able to get through this thing? Oh,
Oh, not even a little bit. No.
so why did you?
But now we know.
Oh, I need to touch us a little bit.
So yeah, you've got this flickering panel. I think Unimon, which is the only one of the Digimon that is still with you, one of the only other 3 wild Digimon that's still with you, is going to say, perchance it be a weak point.
I don't know, it feels pretty solid.
Appearances can be deceiving.
Why don't we try attacking it again all together?
And Unimon, would you mind helping?
Verily. And yeah, you can attack again. I will apply your successes from before to this one. And Unimon is going to as well fire like an orb of some kind out of his mouth at the same spot. It's going to strike the surface of the egg. You can see, you can say, set into the flickering section of it, a crack appears. And then the crack grows the more you like apply force to it. Continue attacking. Gokuamon's actually like into it now and is helping out. And then that panel, that section of it that has been flickering and kind of glitching out on you, shatters and dissolves into data points that sort of float away. And beyond, underneath it, you can see this like, at first you just thought it was dark inside because it's an egg. But now you can see it's sort of swirling darkness. Almost like there's a smoke or a liquid or something that's just pitch black inside of it.
Can Ella touch it?
You can touch it, yeah.
She's going to punch the smoke.
Okay.
Like while she's doing that, I take my goggles off, put them back on, take them off again, clean them, put them back on to make sure I'm seeing this.
Perfect. Give me 1 second. Apparently your character sheet's never finished loading. There we go. Okay. Okay. Ella, you punch the darkness, but it's like punching molasses or something equally as sticky. You punch into it and your fist will not come out of it, no matter how hard you pull or try.
Give me back my punching arm. And then she's going to just keep wrenching. She will not take the "you're stuck" hint and just keep pulling as much as she can.
That's totally fine. And the more you struggle at it, though, the sort of the more you feel like your fist is trapped. And as you peer into the darkness, you see rising up from the depths, the pitch black depths, a shape. And as it draws closer, materializes. You can see almost like looking through a window on the other side, yourself. This version of you is sort of gray and black and white, very much lacking any color of any type or anything like that. It's almost like looking into a reflection that has all of the color drained out of it. Then it smiles at you and it reaches out and grabs your forearm and yanks you down into the depths. And the rest
While
of you.
it's
Sorry, go ahead.
No, while she's getting yanked, you just hear her go, "Finally, a worthy opponent."
As you get yanked down into the egg, the rest of you see Ella vanish. And I think Gokuamon, panicking, maybe for the first time any of you have ever heard him do so, is going to yell Ella's name and dive in after her to try to rescue her out of the depths. But you see Ella and Kokuamon disappear.
I think this commotion shakes Victoria out of her like daze because anyone who was looking at her while all this happening would have noticed that she had actually slyly pulled out a little like journal and like a pen and was writing like my cracked shell breaks and an infernal shadow of darkness swirls deeply writing, and then all of a sudden she hears this noise and she like stands bolt upright and shoves the little like notebook and pen back into her pockets before rushing over to look at what happened.
Should we go after her? I don't have a flashlight.
I don't think it's gonna help. The flashlight, not the going after.
Well, if going after her is all we got, put the goggles back on.
Yeah, I guess, and I think before Victoria can like fully like wrap her head around that she's having to go, you just hear a loud yell of "Destiny awaits," and Elecmon dives headfirst into the shadows. She's like, "Oh crap!" and
Perfect.
leaps right after him.
I think I'll do that in tandem with Spotamon.
All right, cool. You all leap into the dark depths of the egg. And I think we will take a break here and then come back to it and see where we find our Digidestined. So we're going to disappear for about 10 minutes. We'll be back after that. Don't go away. Stick around, and we'll see you very soon.
The egg interfering with us in the real world.
We did it. We briefly went to the missing numbers scene collection, and then we came back to the Undestined scene collection. So look at how the sausage was made. We didn't end stream, though. We just jumped to the stream is over window from missing numbers. Welcome back to us and to you. You didn't go anywhere. Maybe you did. I don't know your life. Hopefully you had an enjoyable 10 minutes. And yeah, thanks for sticking around. We'll get back into this this egg that you're currently in.
Start cracking it open and make an omelet.
Let's do it. And it seems only fair to start with Ella, since
What a lovely day!
we just got raided. Thanks so much, Josh and you. We appreciate it.
Thanks for the raid.
Thanks for the raid. I hope your stream was good. I'm going to shout you out, and then I'm going to know what you were streaming. Nope, don't end it. You were streaming Dungeons and Dragons. That's sick. How was your session? Hope it was good. Yeah. Hell yeah. Well, welcome on in. We are streaming. It's like Digimon. It's like Dungeons and Dragons, but it's Digimon. Digimon and Digimon. Well,
Digimon in Darkness.
Digimon in Darkness. That's where we are right now. So, since Ella was the first one to go in to the darkness of the egg, I think we should start with Ella. Ella has taken martial arts classes, right?
No.
No.
She's all self-taught from what she's able to like watch online and
Cool.
on
On VHS.
video games and VHS. Yeah, like she's watched Enter the Dragon a bunch,
Oh
so
my
she can do like the
god.
1-inch punch, but not like good.
Perfect. Perfect.
I
Even
love her
better.
too much.
So then we're back. No, it's fine. If you can hear us, then you're good. If you can't hear us, please refresh. Our OBS crashes once every stream as a rule, and that was our one crash for tonight. Knock on wood. Fingers crossed. It'd be cool if that was the only one. Yes. So if you can't see anything or hear us or whatever, please let me. Where you find yourself in the darkness, Kokoamon is with you, kind of floating a little bit back behind you. And is like, where are we?
Are we like? Am I standing on solid ground, or am I like swimming in the darkness?
You're kind of floating there, like you're suspended in it.
Can I like swim in it if I try?
You can just kind of move through it. Like if you pick your foot up to walk, you move. It feels like you're moving anyway. But since it's just pitch black, you don't know if you're actually going anywhere.
Can I see Kokoamon, or can I just hear him?
You can both see and hear Kokoamon.
Okay. And he asked, what did he ask? Where are we?
Yeah, basically.
We are in a big egg, you idiot.
Great. This is all I need.
I also would like to eat the big egg.
All right, so
Oh, is that shadow me gone?
you don't see it anywhere.
Hello? Hello? Me?
Maybe we should just pick a direction and start walking.
All right. And then Ella will do eeny, meeny, miny, mo for all the four, what she thinks are the cardinal directions, but are not. She has no compass. She's bad at directions. And then she will choose to head right.
Okay.
The mo will be on right.
You start walking right, and Kokoamon says, You ever think about not punching something that is strange and made of a black swirling vortex? So can't help but
this
think
was
we
actually
wouldn't
my
be in
first
this.
time. Oh, sorry, what?
I can't help but think we wouldn't be in this mess if you hadn't done that.
My father told me that I should try everything once. And I don't see him often enough to get any other advice. So I'm glad I tried punching it once. Because now look, we're hanging out, you and me. It's pretty cool.
We are always hanging out.
Yeah, and that's cool too.
All right.
Anyway, next time I won't punch it. For your sake.
Growth. That's growth.
But the time after
that. I'll take what I can get. Up ahead of you, in the direction that you're walking, you see a flickering light appear. And you move closer to it. It reminds you of the light that your television set at home gives off. Closer you get to it, you see that it is actually the television set from your living room at home, or at least it appears to be. It's just sort of showing this like snowy static. Yes. And as you take like one more step closer to it, the darkness around you dissolves. You are standing in your living room, except similar to the other you that you saw, it's very gray and washed out, very grayscale. And seated in front of that TV set, back facing you, appears to be that other version of yourself. Not looking at you, looking at the TV.
Is the TV still just showing static?
It is, but now it starts to sort of resolve into a picture. You can tell it's like we'll say it's like your favorite Bruce Lee movie.
Okay. So it's Enter the Dragon.
It is Enter the Dragon.
She will completely ignore. Well, she won't ignore the presence of the other one. She will sit right next to her and be like, "This is sincerely my favorite part."
The other you is gonna her head is gonna swivel towards you. It's a very unsettling motion because it's not quite a turn, it's more of a swivel like on the axis situation.
Like the neck doesn't move, just the head.
Yeah.
Moves.
Very creepy. Kind of gives you like a cursory look over and speaks in this whispery sort of approximation of your voice. Says, is it time for us to fight?
I mean, it can be, but I would like to finish the movie. But if you want to fight, we can. If we can pause it, and then after the fight, we can come back. If that's cool with you.
You love fighting.
Yes. I love physically fighting. I don't like arguing.
She will reach out and she will turn the TV off.
Okay, well, could have at least pressed pause.
And she'll stand up and move across the room from you and drop into a fighting stance similar to the one that Bruce Lee had adopted in Enter the Dragon.
Can Ella walk normally, or is she still doing the floating thing in here?
You can walk normally now,
Okay.
now that you're not in the dark void.
Ella will quickly wipe her nose with one of her thumbs and then take up the same stance. And be all smiles.
All right. The other you is gonna run at you, basically like charge at you and start like throwing punches and kicks and things like that. But before she does so, she says, "This doesn't end until one of us quits."
At that, Ella is going to like pause for a second and like drop her stance because she wasn't quite expecting that kind of comment. And leave her self accidentally open to the first attack.
Okay. And yeah, she's gonna punch you. She charges up to you, runs up to you, basically just like throws a punch, gonna catch you across the face. Probably is gonna just send you sprawling, I think. I mean, I'll roll for it, but I'll call my shot as a 2. I rolled a 2. I rolled a 2
no.
exactly.
Uh-oh.
So that's going to change, and you are going to take a You're going to take a hit. And
That's not-
because you are a child, you really only have two options here, one of which is take the hit by giving up one of your labels. You can soak it, or basically like lose the fight.
I think she's gonna lose a label. And between friendly, honest, protective, and brave, she's gonna lose friendly because this person is not friendly.
No, no, not at all. And as you are like doing that, as you're lying there from where you just got decked, you see this sort of aura appear around this other version of you, the sort of black energy aura that is appearing now and flickering sort of very menacingly. She stands and resumes that fighting stance again. Leaving your living room behind and jumping away, Victoria, you find yourself in that same inky black void. But in your case, you can see Lekmon running ahead of you. And you're like running after him to keep up.
Hey, yeah, like I get it. We got to get to Destiny, but slow down.
He does not stop moving, though.
And I think she calls out again, just like a Lekmon, but you hear like a crack of like vulnerability in her voice because like he usually responds, like he's impulsive, but he listens. A Lekmon?
And you round the corner. Sorry, no. So you're running through this inky black void, and it suddenly, similarly to how it did for Elo, resolves itself into reality. Yours is not washed out and strange the way that Ella's is. Suddenly, you are in this like richly appointed and like fairly well preserved Gothic mansion of some kind. And you're running down the hallway chasing after Alekmon, and Alekmon rounds a corner. You chase after, you round the same corner, and you see he has stopped moving and is now facing you, facing back in the direction that he just came from where you are standing. Next to him is a boy of about your age, maybe a little bit older or younger. It's hard for you to tell. But he's fairly good looking, and he's wearing like a white shirt, regular jeans, like a jean jacket over that. Got like a flannel shirt tied around his waist. And he looks confused as you round the corner and says, what are you doing here? Who are you?
I was chasing after a Lekmon. He's my partner. Who are you?
I'm James. But this is my partner.
I mean, unless we both have a Lekmon, and mine just turned this corner. So, Lekmon, you recognize me?
Looks at you from across the way and shakes his head. He's wearing a cape, so you know it's your Lekmon, but he shakes his head and then looks up and says, James, I don't know who she is. James shrugs and says, look, I don't know what to tell you. Lekmon and I have always been together.
Listen, you seem nice. If this isn't some weird mind gamey illusion or something, but that's my Digimon, and maybe he's confused right now because of all this. But I want him back. Partners.
I mean, why? First of all, like, assuming you ever had a Digimon, why would you want one? I mean, you don't. Like, you know why we have them, right?
They're our friends.
Yeah, but it's more complicated than that. I mean, you're supposed to save the world. You're supposed to do important things. And, like, no offense, but, like, you don't seem like somebody who really cares about any of that.
I mean, I don't, but I care about a Lekmon, and he cares about that. So if that's what we have to do, we'll do it. But I just want my friend back.
He he's gonna start laughing. Not maliciously or evilly or anything, but, like, he kind of can't help it, like, incredulously, and Lekmon is gonna join in, and he's gonna say, "You? You you don't care about anything, though."
I mean,
I mean, if you
care about
did,
a
you
Lek.
wouldn't have held him back all this time.
She kind of looks down and kind of thinks for a second, and then she kind of looks back up. She's a little bit less confident, but I held him back because I do care about him. It's dangerous. We all saw what happened. All of us on the TV. This world saving, destiny, stakes, this stuff is dangerous. I just want to keep him safe. I want to keep me safe.
Wow. You can rest assured that he is safe with me, and, look, you obviously really never wanted any part of this anyway, so here's your chance. Walk away and stop, stop being mixed up in all this. Get on with your
Listen,
life. Do the things that you want to do.
said it once, I said it again. That's my friend, Flannel. I'm going to keep him safe. And I'm not convinced you're any better at keeping him protected than I am.
All right. Come back to you. Uh, AJ.
Here we go.
Yeah, you're in this inky black void where you dove into the egg, but you don't see your partner anywhere.
I think instinctually he will grab behind him in case spot him on his sword again and on his back or something.
You reach for it and you don't find any sword.
I think
Nothing on
so
your
he
back.
turns around, like kind of takes off his coat, looks on the back of it, and just kind of keeps looking around, shouting, Spider-Man! Hey! Little guy! Buddy! Where are ya? Hello? Just kind of keep looking around and shouting out for his friend.
You call for your friend and you keep moving forward, and you see something off in the distance, a little ways. You're not sure exactly what it is at first, but as you get closer to it, everything kind of resolves around you, and you see that you're on a hilltop of some kind. Um, it's very bare, but below you, on either side, or on all the sides of the hill, you can see that there are trees and overgrowth, and wherever you are, you can see more of this sort of rolling green hilly countryside. But on the particular hill that you're standing on, there's really only one thing, which is this enormous rock. And sticking out of that rock, you see Spider-Man in his sword spear form, but kind of covered in that same layer of stone. And standing next to it, there is this tall figure in a hood. His face is sort of obscured, but there's a very long gray beard spilling out from inside of the robes.
Okay. I think seeing that, I'll be like, hey, don't touch that. That's my friend. And I start kind of booking it over to the old man and the spot on the stone.
As you get closer, the hooded, bearded figure will turn to face you, say, it is not my purpose to touch the sword, only to guard it.
Guard it? Why are you guarding it? It's my friend. He looks like
I
he's a little stuck and could use some help, though.
guard the sword until one worthy can take it up.
Hmm. Well, how do I prove I'm worthy?
All you have to do is reach out and try to take it.
Okay. I'll reach out and try to touch my Digimon partner. And I think like doing some like, hey, Spider-Man, you don't have to be a sword all the time. It's okay.
The sword does not budge.
Not enough spaghetti. Spider-Man, hey, what are you doing? As I'm like grabbing onto the sword and I'm like trying to heave it and just like as he's like not budging, I'm like, hey, what's wrong? Is
The,
everything okay?
the old
You're-
man says,
Mm,
interrupts, and says, you are not worthy. Move along.
I'm not going anywhere. This is my friend and I don't know who you are, but he's just a little stuck.
If you were meant for the sword, it would have moved. Did not. You are not worthy.
Is there a way I can become worthy?
Perhaps. It would take a long time.
Hmm.
Centuries, perhaps.
No, I don't think I have that long. I think our vacation's up in like a week. Strap my goggles on. Spider-Man, hey, buddy. We gotta go back and get snacks. I think everyone's counting on us. Do you need like a snooze? I sit next to the sword and pull out like a bag of Skittles I had. I'm like, I know you don't like these that much, but like, there's something, buddy.
Sword does not reply to you.
Mm.
The old man says, perhaps in time you might become worthy, but If you're in a hurry, you'd best move along. Someone else should be along shortly.
I'm in a hurry, I guess, but I'm not gonna leave without my friend. I'll just wait here until he's ready to go. Cross my legs, cross my arms, and just sit down next to the sword.
You plan to wait.
I mean, he can't stay a sword forever.
This will be quite boring.
I've got to pull out a yo-yo. I'll just keep myself entertained, prepared. I got some snacks. I got my yo-yo. I've got trees to count. Sure, it's fine.
How long are you prepared to wait?
I think that's up to my buddy here. If he would, stop being a stick in the ground.
I see.
I mean, he's my little guy. He's my buddy. I'll wait for him.
As you say that, the sword sticking out of the stone begins to glow with like a golden radiance.
All right. I think I'll look over into it and be like, "Oh, okay. Now, do you talking like lights now? Hold on. Do you need me to help you out?" And I'll like grab onto the sword and like try to hoist him out.
And as you make contact with it, that light grows in intensity. We'll come right back to you. Ella, you were knocked down from the punch thrown by the other version of yourself. And she has resumed that fighting stance and says, "Get up."
Ella's going to stand and crack her neck.
The other you's gonna do the come at me and say, "Fight me."
Ella is going to, instead of taking a stance, she is going to rush her
Yeah.
her me and duck low to try and get behind her.
Okay. Roll.
All right, I'm gonna say a 5. My shot. Got a 2.
And you've got some labels.
Yeah, I would say this is her being brave by rushing in. And I would say since she didn't give up the fight, I would argue that that's being honest to herself.
Okay. I think that's fair. So yeah, you can absolutely get behind the other version of you. Was there another part of that, or did you just want to get behind her?
Yeah. I just need to see if she got behind her because she's going to grab her and then suplex her immediately behind her,
Cool.
head first into the ground.
I'll let that roll ride for both of those things. So yeah, you duck under the swing that comes at you from your doppelganger, and you suplex her, and you flip her, slam her through like the coffee table in front of the chair, and she, you get up presumably, and she does too, and she is going to run at you again. She's going to crack her neck, and she's going to say again, just fight me. And she's going to, I think, try to do something similar, but a little bit different. I think she might try to she's going to try to suplex you right back, basically. So I'll say a 4. I rolled a 4. I'm 2 for 2. That's pretty wild. You're gonna get suplexed. Which means that that this is the system working as intended. You're a child and you're not supposed to do these things, but because this other you is just beating on you, either you can burn another label to keep going, or you can lose.
She's gonna lose. She is going to, as she takes the suplex, it's going to knock her loose. Her brain looser than it already is. In fact, she's going to become smarter from the brain damage. That's what happens here.
That's how that works.
And then, as she sees the birds dancing around her, she'll go, "That was pretty good," and then lie down and be like, "All right, I give up. Can we turn the movie back on?"
You, I think Kokuamon at this point is kind of like flitting around your head and is like, "Hello, are you okay? Maybe you should stop."
I am stopping. I lost. There's no shame in defeat, because that just means that there's somebody I get to be stronger than down the line.
The other you looks perplexed at that, and then a little bit furious. It says, "You're giving up?
Yeah,
We
let's watch
don't-
the movie.
We don't give up. We don't quit."
No. Okay, first of all, there's a difference between giving up and quitting, all right? You won the fight. You won this fight. You won one fight. If I gave up forever after every fight I lost, buddy, I get beat up a lot. Like a lot. Like, I've been shoved in lockers, I've been given swirlies, had my underpants run up the flagpole while I'm still in them. I get beat up a lot. But I keep working. And sometimes those people that beat me up the first time, they can't beat me up the second or the third or the fourth. And because I took those hits, maybe some little kid isn't. So yeah, you win this fight. But buddy, I'm coming back for you. Now let's watch the movie.
The other version of you will stand there frozen for a second, and then you think this other version of you, your doppelganger, is maybe like glitched or something, because it's just not moving and not responding in any way. And then it just kind of blows away into like dust. And Okuamon starts to glow with a golden light. It's like, what? Oh, what's happening? What's this?
Did I just win a fight by talking?
I think you want to fight by not fighting.
Well, we're going to add that to the strategy book.
Something's happening, and then the light gets brighter, and we're going to cut away back to the Gothic mansion in the hallway where Victoria is facing James and his partner, Lekmon.
So I think Victoria had been Victoria had been kind of caught off guard and vulnerable. But as James in this situation isn't changing, she's starting to get frustrated again, which for her actually kind of it's like her whole demeanor kind of looked a little shrunken and shaky. But as she starts to get frustrated, she starts to kind of steal up a little bit, and then her eyes start like darting around the room and kind of taking in the space. And all of a sudden, she gets like a little smirk in the corner of her mouth. She looks at him. You know, Breakfast Club, Gothic Manor isn't really your vibe. I don't think this is really about you. She kind of looks down, goes, I think I get it. And she starts walking forward and she takes off her jacket and she takes and throws the sleeves over her shoulders and then ties them up so that the hanging part of the jacket kind of looks like a cape, the sleeves tied around the front. And she walks up and kind of gets down on her knees to Lekmon, just completely ignoring James. She goes, I get it, buddy. Let's go save the world. And she sticks her hand out to Lekmon.
Before Alekmon can do anything, James says, "You look so stupid. That you look really lame."
You're rocking a jean jacket and flannel in the 2000s, my dude. Glass
Hey,
houses.
it's an indeterminate time period, all right?
We'll be fine.
Whatever. Lame. And then that last word kind of echoes a little bit as you look around, and James has vanished entirely, is not there anymore, and it's just the two of you in the hallway, and Alekmon kind of like blinks, looks around and says, and settles on you and says, Victoria, where are we? What are you wearing?
Gotta wear a cape to save the world, right? Come on.
His eyes go
Destiny's calling.
wide. Says, are we going to save the world?
Looks like it.
He reaches out and he takes your hand, and as he does so, he starts to glow with this golden light. It grows in intensity till it is super bright, and at that moment, we hear a echoing calls, three voices, more or less in tandem, that say, Spotamon, Digivolve 2, Kokuamon, Digivolve 2, Alekmon, Digivolve 2. And when this blinding light has faded and these transformation sequences are over, the egg in the park shatters into like a million shards that then turn into more data points that kind of just dissolve as well on the breeze. And standing in the middle of this clearing where this sort of black spire thing had been partially embedded in the ground is a person, but, well, a creature. But before we get to that creature, standing across from that creature in the same clearing, very reminiscent of how you had been standing yesterday, except with different creatures by your sides. What have they become?
Who wants to go first?
Well, since AJ was the first one to overcome his darkness.
You see this sort of wolf lion, like quadrupedal hybrid that has like white fur for the most part, but like a big like orange mane fur, with like orange fur on like the paws up to their like elbows and like knees that are like orange, but there is like a almost a flame pattern to the edge of them. They've got like 3 armored spikes, 2 on the back that sort of almost have vents on them, 1 on the front of their chest. Actually, there's like 2 more little back spikes near their hips. They got a bunch of drills everywhere. There's like 2 drills on the top of their back legs, and then their long kind of like line-like tail ends in a big drill. And then they've sort of got like an armored kind of like headband similar to Spotamon's, but it's orange now. And rather than the like little X that's in the center of his, there's another drill. They got 2 big fangs, and it's Darulamon.
All right.
He's about Garurumon size.
Hell yeah. Standing there, we see that. And then Ella.
You see a humanoid that appears to have both two very distinguishing features. One, big old cowboy hat, 10-gallon hat, legitimate 10-gallon, not those fake 10 gallons that can really only hold 1 gallon. You could pour 10 gallons of whatever liquid you wanted into this hat. And a cannon sticking right out of its chest. Except if you look a little closer, that's not a cannon. That's just straight up a revolver. That's just a giant revolver with a hat on top of it. And you can see under the hat, 2 bright, glowing yellow eyes in the shadow. Kind of like what if a black mage was raised in the Wild West kind of vibes. The gun, there's no visible trigger or anything. It's just basically, like a snub nose kind of revolver sticking out of his chest with arms and inexplicably blue jeans. I have no idea why a gun is wearing blue jeans, but the gun is wearing blue jeans.
Because he's a cowboy, and cowboys
yeah,
wear
that's
blue
true.
jeans.
That's fair.
Cowboys
It
wear
just annoys
jeans,
me
right?
because why isn't he wearing chaps? Anyway, and then in each hand he's also holding, as opposed to his smaller revolver that is his chest, in his hands are 2 big old guns. Big, Clint Eastwood is that cop in that movie I can never remember the name of.
Gran Torino.
Kind of guns. Dirty Harry. Yeah.
Sure.
Or Unforgiven probably makes more sense.
And thus we have delivered on our promise from Missing Numbers last night. There are guns.
All the guns you wanted.
Oh, he's all gun. And then he is Deputy Mon. He is a still sounds like Danny DeVito. That has not changed. Inexplicably, what if Danny DeVito was a cowboy? That's what you get with Deputy Mon, baby. Also, he says partner a lot, but he says it like partner.
Love that.
Wait till he starts blasting. Wait till he starts blasting.
Wait till
Yeah, baby.
Indeed. And Victoria.
Yeah. So standing next to Victoria is also a humanoid figure, about her height actually. The first thing you see is like kind of shaggy white hair with pointed ears sticking up through it, and black horns coming out of the hair. 2 kind of curling back and 1 smaller one sticking forward. So we pan down through the face. Underneath the face, there's a red bandana or like scarf tied around the neck, kind of hanging out, and like a black cloth vest. The only thing that he's wearing, open chest, and then some big white gloves that are already kind of crackling with electricity. There's all these kind of red markings that look like markings or tattoos, all from his eyes onto his chest, down his arms. And then from the waist down, there's goat legs. Whole thing looking kind of satyr-esque. And the goat legs have little knee pads, cloth knee pads that match the gloves. And then he has little kind of bandana ribbons tied around his ankles as well. And it is Aegiamon.
Does he have any pockets or anywhere that he could store things if he needed to?
Both of his knee pad slash sawed off shorts, whatever, have zippers on the front, as if to have giant pockets in them for storage.
Good. Just in case it comes up, I wanted to know. And we hear those 3, cries resonate throughout the clearing of Daruluman, Deputy Mon, Aegiamon. And you are maybe surprised. I guess it's up to you. We never really covered whether or not you have ever digivolved before, but I guess it's up to you to decide if this is the first time or if you've seen this before. Either way, some of you are probably surprised by this. Some of you may not be. Standing across from you is this shape of it would be kind of a tall, gangly looking man in like a black leather suit with like wings coming off and like horns, except there's something off, something not quite right. The entire like left side of his body, from like shoulder down to the tip of his like long clawed fingers, is overly muscular and like covered in like this brownish fur. And he has one leg that looks like it's maybe like from a horse or something. It definitely ends in like a hoofed cloven foot. It's similarly got like a red hairy spot to it, like a reptilian one for the left leg. There are patches of like metal all over the body, and the head is just like swollen on one side, like threatening to burst through the mask. You can see that there's just like more flesh underneath it being contained than it was meant to. It's kind of bulging out in weird places, and you can see like the eye, excuse me, you can see the eye on that side is like drooping as well. And in this voice that is similar to the one that you heard earlier that was disembodied and had that strange resonance to it, you hear that same voice, but now clearly emanating from this creature. Process panting. He's panting also as he's saying this, like he is in pain or undergoing a great strain or something like that, and says, "Process terminated. Everman corrupted." And then the head sort of comes up and takes all three of you and your Digimon in and snarls. "You've ruined everything."
Well, you cracked a big egg in New York. What do you expect?
Yeah, this is more of a Big Apple town, buddy.
Oh, children. I hate children. And he is going to, at that, is going to point. He's actually not going to point anything at you. The patches of metal that are sort of in random spots all over his torso and body are going to open, almost like they're what is it? What is that word when it's like a disc that like the different parts come out and it closes and then they come out retracting, I guess is good enough. But anyway, they're panels basically that retract, and a bunch of like rockets are going to shoot out of them and start like zipping all over the clearing, specifically heading for the three of you. Seems like a very good time for your Digimon to use their protect track.
Question. So for transformation sequence, right?
Yes, I meant
that's what we're using
yes.
That's what we're using for Digivolution.
Yes.
Do you want us to adjust like their previous track and like bump one up or whatever it says?
No, so yeah, basically, yeah, so first things first, set your charge die to 20, except you're spending 5 for transformation sequence, so actually set it to 15. And then, yes, you can pick one stat, one of your dice tracks to boost by one die type, and then that's going to get locked. So that's not going to adjust even if you take hits to that one.
Okay.
I wasn't sure if you had factored in the die type in your Form 2 tab already.
I think I did originally, but I dropped it all back just to make sure. So.
Okay, cool. Yeah. All right. And so, yeah, with that in mind, excuse me, you now have your second form Digimon, and you are all getting targeted by rockets, and I think probably you will all roll protect, I'm assuming, to try to save you from these.
Okay. Let's see.
I'm gonna go with 3.
Okay.
That's a 4. So
Very good.
I'm gonna go with 6. That's a 7.
I think
far,
I'm
so
going to
good.
spend 5 charge to roll dodge.
Okay. All right. I'll say that works. I'll say that you can, we'll say that Daruluman kind of like carries you out of the way with that roll dodge. And so mark the charge on your die. And yeah, these rockets all like one of the rockets, the one that was heading for AJ, is going to hit the ground and explode, create a small crater, but Daruluman gets you out of the way, so you're safe. Aegiamon, how would Aegiamon deal with a rocket, Liz?
Um, I think in this case he's going to go for just kind of getting Victoria out of the way. Like just turns, grabs her, and then leaps off to the side out of the way.
Okay. What about your giant gunman, Ella? How does he deal with a rocket?
She will hide behind him, like in a way where it's like, I hate that you're a gun, shoot those. And he's going to just be like, bang, 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 bang. Like he's going to say it out loud as he starts firing.
He's going to start blasting.
Yeah, he's going to start blasting.
Hell yeah. Okay. And so you're just like shooting the rocket out of the way, or out of the air. All right, cool. So it explodes before it even comes close to hitting you, and the corrupted Devimon he's going to roar in anger and rage. And now we're going to figure out how we're doing this, how we're doing turn order. So in this case, does anybody have a D4 for battle after improvements?
I do.
All right. So then Darulamon's going to go first.
He's going to charge up to this corrupted Devimon, and he's got a bunch of attacks that do weird things, but he just turns the drill on his tail into like a really huge drill and just slams it into him. So I'm going to consider this to be, he's quick and he's got a drill, so that's 2 of his labels. I'm gonna say a 3.
Okay.
That's a 2, so plus those 2 is 4.
All right. And you called a 3, right?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right. Awesome. Yeah. So you can hit the corrupted Devimon with a drill. It's gonna, I think you're gonna strike it in the torso, and it's gonna kind of like almost fold in on itself with a grunt of pain, and you knock it back a couple of feet. That like centaur leg and lizard leg both kind of dig into the ground. I forgot to mention that at this point the upbeat pop punk track has started playing to to back this this particular fight. It's like a little tone deaf, but also just very fun. So it's okay. But yeah, these 2 weird legs find purchase in the ground and stop him from like being knocked too far back or off his feet or anything. Just that grunt of pain. Well done. D6s, which includes corrupted Devimon.
D6.
D6. All right. It's interesting that the gunman, it's a lower battle. No, I mean that's very fair. That's very fair. I'm into it. All right. Then I'm going to say, since he just got hit, Victoria, you and Aegiamon can go.
Okay. So Aegiamon actually is going to reach into, he's going to unzip one of his knee pads and pull out his pipes. So he has a little pan flute called Syrinx.
Or like
And
a
he's
pant flute.
a pants flute.
Hey.
Oh
Hey.
boy.
Well, duh.
Yeah, that's fair.
Phrasing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a thing.
Oh, I wasn't thinking about that, but
He's going to play the Syrinx, and he's going to use 5 charge for his freeze ability.
Mm.
And so specifically, Syrinx allows him to do the move is Attract Echo, where he steals away. He draws the attention of those who hear it, stealing away their sense of self and blinding them to everything but Aegiamon. And the freeze ability allows me to roll a d8, and that's the target number for the enemy's freeze die. On that opponent's turn, they must roll a d8 against that same target. If they roll higher, they're freed. If they roll lower, they can't do anything else on their turn.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to roll my d8 and see what the freeze number is. Make sure that is what I think that is, because these dice are vague. Okay, yes, it is. 7.
Okay.
Like, that's either a 7
that's,
or a 1, so it's
Yeah.
very good or very bad.
yeah, that's very good. That is the very good
Yeah.
option. So well played. Yeah, Devimon has been entranced, essentially. Is kind of just focused entirely on Agiomon and the song that you are playing, which I'm assuming is like a flute rendition of the Digimon theme song.
Oh, yeah.
Naturally.
Yeah, the pop punk veers slightly into ska for a minute as like the little horn-esque.
Hear distant upstrokes in the background. All right. Well, Devimon, corrupted Devimon, is going to try to get out of this. It's going to roll a d8. Got to get an 8. Got to get an 8. That's a 2. So still frozen. Still frozen for now, which means it's Deputymon.
Deputymon, who is kind of personality-wise different from Kakuyamon and is going to be more rambunctious about comedy. Ella from behind him is just like, look, if you beat this guy, we can watch a spaghetti western or something. Do you like that? Is that something you'd be into?
From across the battlefield, AJ's like, I love spaghetti.
And then his stomach rumbles and he just goes, oh, not so much.
And then Debbiemon's gonna be like, I love the movies. And then he is going to do a gun in strange places.
Oh yeah.
Which will cost 3 charge, and before I make my battle roll, it will deal an additional hit if it is successful. So that's a D8, and I'm going to say, I'll say we'll try for a 6. No, I'll say 5. We'll do 5.
Okay.
And we got a 5, baby!
Oh, yes. All right. Awesome. So not only do you hit that, I mean, this is a very clutch moment because with Guns in Strange Places, you get that extra hit. You get 1 hit for succeeding, and because you rolled your target number exactly, it actually is a second hit as well. So that is 3 hits, which is a huge amount of damage in Nightlights. Also, your die type moves to the next lowest, so D8 to D6. Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, you're doing 3 hits, so you can decide what this looks like as you unleash a barrage of whatever.
So he is going to point both guns and then fire at the same time, and then a second later, like, he just gets knocked back as like the big bullet shoots out of his chest, and then in a very, like, the camera's following the bullet kind of Gun-Kata style, like you can see the smaller bullets like stuck in the spiral orbit of the big bullet before they all just collide perfectly and like smash against his, let's say, torso.
Yeah, no, I think that's awesome. I love the mental image of the blast from the central gun being so powerful that it recoils.
Yeah,
like
Deputymon.
Deputymon.
It's like it's almost like he got like, you know when Harry Houdini used to take those cannonballs?
Yeah,
like that kind of lurch. That is exactly what his body does.
I think it's one of those things where, you know, that anime thing where they do like 3 different angles of the same moment because it's so epic. It's like that. It's just like, and then just like 2 other angles of it. So this massive hit hits the corrupted Devimon square on, and he starts to, like, there's just this smoke that is thrown up, debris that has been kicked up by the sheer force of the blast hitting him. And when it starts to dissipate, he's actually like crouched down, and he's got like one hand sort of holding himself up. He's still sort of breathing heavily. He's still sort of like panting and seems to be like trying to catch his breath, but also he's still very much entranced, unfortunately. And he's not down yet, but he might be able to escape Agiomon's spell depending on what happens now. It is definitely Darulumon, because I'm not mistaken, you're at a D4.
I am.
Yeah.
And I realized I'm okay. I'm also gonna use guns in strange places, except it's not guns, it's drills.
Drills in strange places.
So I think he like fires off like all the drills that are on his body, as well as like the one in the tail, and like they all kind of like it hits like one after the other, kind of like rapid fires them. That's 3 charge, right?
Yes.
So
So you're
I
at
have to-
7.
Yep, I'm at 7. Okay. I'm gonna try and get a 4.
Okay.
That's a 2, so I'm drill and quick
Yeah, absolutely.
for a 4, I guess.
Yep. Yes, absolutely fair. All right, cool. So you have a 4. So that's going to be 2 hits because you have drills in strange places. And yeah, so very similar. Just a barrage of drills now strike the corrupted Devamon, who is standing. Well, not even standing at this point. Basically, like crouched down. I'm imagining that they kind of like hit the ground also around him, and it kind of like digs it up, and it maybe leaves him sort of like in this crater where he's kind of barely hanging on. And Victoria does not look good for corrupted Devamon. Aegiumon, I imagine, like there's this. It's up to you, but like this is the moment, right?
Yeah, no, I think she does like look at Agumon and she goes like take him down. And Agumon like puts down the pipes and then you see him crouch down and he like gets covered in electricity and then he leaps forward and just goes flying towards the corrupted dead man with a fist pulled back and then swings to just do a like electrically charged punch with stun beat blow. And that is a D6. And I'm going to say 4. So that is a 6. But given that his labels are center of attention, brawler, big damn hero, I think any of those
Yeah, that'll get you. That'll get you where you
apply.
need to get.
So yeah, just flying forward, charged electric fist, and then just one good sock across the face of corrupted Deathmon.
Yeah, there's this moment I think where it's just reflected in the sort of weird goopy side of his face. The incoming attack from Aegiumon where he pulls back his fist, and I think there's a moment because you've stopped playing the flute at this point where story-wise the corrupted Devamon kind of looks around and like becomes aware of his surroundings again and what's happening, and he has a moment of being of just like a moment of clarity where he says impossible before Aegiumon's fist catches him and sends him flying off of his feet and back to where he once. And at that moment, the lights come on all around you in the city and in the park. Like street lights turn on, the lights that are on the path of Central Park turn on. You basically like hear the city start back up again, and yeah, everything kind of resumes all around you. Your partners, I imagine, glow briefly and then shrink back to their rookie forms.
Pick my boy up. Yeah, you did it!
Yeah, Victoria goes running out to Electron and grabs him in a big hug and like picks him up and is squeezing him.
Ella will be like, "You have to pose with me. We won the fight. You have to pose with me. You have to pose with me."
Fine.
Hell yeah! And then they do back to back like cool guy buddy cop movie poses.
For nobody in particular, because camera phones aren't a thing.
Just for us.
Absolutely.
I think
And you
I will pull everybody into some kind of group hug.
hear cheers and cries of like, you did it, and you see like from over the hill Tyrannomon and Frigiamon and even Unimon coming rushing towards you to congratulate you and thank you. And yeah, that is pretty much the rest of your night is just hanging out if you want to. I think you probably start to realize that you've been away from home for a very long time during a crisis, and your parents are probably very worried about you. Depending.
I think this is also happening at like 2 a.m. or something.
Yeah, at this point, absolutely. So yeah. Yeah. I think that's our session.
I think so. Unless there's like
Hey.
4 a.m. spaghetti we can find, but I don't think Spaghetti Factory's open.
No,
Ella is inducting the Tyrannomon into her dojo. He will be
Oh,
her
yeah.
first student.
Frigiamon that was with you earlier is like, you ever have shawarma? I don't know what it is, but I kind of want it. Just cut to the six of you and Frigiamon and Unimon and Tyrannomon all sitting around a table eating shawarma together in silence.
Hell yeah. Perfect ending.
Perfect ending.
That's a pretty Digimon ending.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Perfect. All right. Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for playing this game, this Digimon game with the Nightlight system. Thanks for helping me test it out. I hope you had fun.
I had a
lot of
blast,
fun.
sincerely.
That was great.
I
It
learned a
was
lot.
awesome, and I enjoyed the system, and also
Hell yeah.
Digimon.
Also, Will, I have to tell you, Daniela Ella Bistol, is just another version of the name Danny Carseat.
I was wondering when I saw Daniela. I was like, oh, they didn't pick Danny. That's interesting.
It's just I've decided I like that name too much to not use it in some variation, probably for the rest of my life.
It's always going to be Danny Carseat.
But I needed to own up to it because otherwise I felt like it was a secret only I was enjoying.
I appreciate that. And I appreciate the backdoor plug for Academy H. Listen to it on all your podcast platforms.
It's a great time.
It's streaming. It's a very good time. All right, cool. Well, on that note, I think we're going to call it a night, and we'll do our outros, I guess, real quick. I'll go last this time. Andy, can you tell people where to find you?
Hi, I'm Andy. I'm A Hero of Hearts or Andy Hero of Hearts on Twitter, the dark web, Instagram, the digital network, the digital ocean. I don't know. All those other places I said earlier, 2-3 hours ago, something like that. You can find me on the Charisma Segment Show where I'm the Dungeon Master. It's a wild time. It's a lot of chaos. Maybe a little too much chaos, but that's what we like there. Unless you're Ben. Ben doesn't like the chaos as much.
Unless you're banned, then you can't. Oh, Ben, right? Ben, yeah. Ben hates chaos.
Also banned, as in Justin.
Yeah. Justin's banned from this stream too, but he keeps showing up.
He has a way in. It's me. I'm letting him in. You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram. Twitter, if you want to see me ramble more about Digimon or other shit. I do not shut up about Digimon. Maybe a little too much.
We love that. We love that around here. Jamie, what you got going on?
I got comedy. I got all sorts of jokes. You can follow me on Twitter at @JamieCarbone, or Instagram. I post clips of my stand-up. You can also just Google Jamie Carbone comedy and you'll find some clips that way. Or my TikTok, where I also post that, plus talking head videos. Although I've noticed when my mental health is better, I am not on TikTok as much. And boy, oh boy, that is something I should probably look into, but I will not. Besides that, if you're in the Pacific Northwest, I do.
I'm gonna call it a night there, I think. And thanks so much for joining. And sorry about the OBS garbage. We are gonna follow us on things. Follow us on the socials. We're on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of that stuff. Hive, if you want to follow us on Hive, you can. And you can join the Discord community as well, which is a great place full of great people. We have a lot of stuff coming up. Also, everybody who was in this game, if you scroll down a little bit, you can see all of their socials and links and a little bit about them. You can follow those to the other places where they are and where they do things. So feel free to do that if you would like to. Yeah, I think on that note, we're going to disappear for a second. Not actually sure if anybody is here because I had to end the stream and then bring it back. So what we're going to do is aim to raid our friends at Altered Echo Archives. If nobody is in the chat, if it says you have nobody watching, we're not going to do that because, yeah, there's nobody here. But if there is, then we'll do it. So stick around, say hi, be friendly. They're great. We love them. And then we will catch you next time. Catch you next week, Sunday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at least. Have a good night. I would normally here is where I would say good night, everybody, but it's just me on screen. So say good night, everybody. Good night.